My radiant soul, something is shifting around you right now, and the heavens have pushed this message into your hands with urgency. Archangel Michael is stepping forward with a command unlike anything you have felt before. His voice carries both fire and protection as he says, "I order you to open this urgently." If these words have reached you, it is not an accident, not a coincidence, not a random moment on your screen. It is a divine interruption because something hidden in your life is about to be exposed. There has been a presence near you, silent, deceptive, waiting for the right moment to strike, and Archangel Michael calls it the snake. Not a creature of the earth, but a human spirit dressed in loyalty yet rooted in betrayal. A person whose name you have once spoken with trust, maybe even affection, a name that now carries a sting you were never meant to feel. And Michael says clearly, a snake is eliminated from your life. But before you breathe relief, he speaks again. The name will hurt you, but open it quickly. Why? Because the truth will protect you before the wound even forms. Listen carefully, beloved. This is not just a warning. It is a divine reveal. Archangel Michael is pulling back a curtain that has been blocking your intuition. You have been sensing something, a shift in someone's tone, an uneasiness in their energy, a confusion in your spirit when they enter your thoughts. You brushed it off, thinking maybe you were overreacting, maybe imagining too much. But heaven has been watching what you could not see. There is someone who has been speaking one thing to your face and another behind your back. Someone who has been waiting for your downfall, secretly intimidated by your growth, threatened by your calling, and jealous of your blessings. Archangel Michael has been battling this snake in the spirit realm long before you ever suspected a thing. And tonight, he says the battle is already won. The snake is eliminated. Yet here is the mystery. The truth that will set you free might first break your heart. Because the name connected to this betrayal isn't an enemy. It isn't a stranger. It is someone you once trusted to hold your heart with both hands. Someone you believed would never twist your story, never whisper against you, never envy your life. That is why Archangel Michael is urging you, almost commanding you, to stay present in this moment. He says, do not turn away. Do not scroll. The revelation is coming with precision. There is a reason the heavens insisted this message find you today. The timing is surgical. The warning is not late. It is right on the edge of a moment where you were about to make a decision involving this person. A decision that would have tied you close while they intended to take advantage of your trust. Michael stands between you and this danger, sword raised, wings shielding you, voice thundering, no more access, no more deception, no more disguise. Your spirit may already know who this is. As you hear these words, you may feel a tightening in your chest, a memory rising, a face flashing into your mind. That is Archangel Michael touching your intuition, guiding you toward clarity without panic. He does not want you afraid. He wants you aware. Heaven has watched the conversation spoken about you when you were not present. Heaven has watched the intentions someone hid under concern. Heaven has watched a mask slip when they thought no one was looking. And heaven has decided, enough. But here is the sacred part, the part Archangel Michael whispers gently. You were never meant to fight this alone. That's why this message carries urgency. That's why you were pulled here at this exact second. And that's why your spirit is reacting, because some truth lands before it is understood by the mind. Beloved, everything you are feeling right now is confirmation. You may wonder, why didn't I see it sooner? Why did I trust them at all? Why did God allow them into my life? Archangel Michael answers, to reveal the purity of your heart and the impurity of theirs. Sometimes God lets people stay long enough to show you who they truly are, not to break you, but to awaken you. This exposure is not punishment. It is protection disguised as revelation. And the moment you accept this truth, the door that this snake once tried to enter will slam shut forever. A new season is forming around you. Cleaner, clearer, safer, holier. As this person exits your life, light re-enters. Peace returns. Opportunities flow. Your spiritual atmosphere becomes calm again. Your intuition strengthens. Your destiny becomes untangled. But before that blessing is released, Archangel Michael wants you to remember one final thing in this moment. This is not the end of something. This is the beginning of your freedom. Hold on, because what comes next in this message will reveal why heaven acted so urgently, and what miracle is unfolding the moment this snake is removed. Trust me, you will want to hear the next part. Something massive is about to unfold in your favor. Type "I received the warning" in the comments if this is speaking to your spirit. Blessing code 144 is now activated. My chosen heart, as the veil continues to lift, Archangel Michael steps even closer, his presence steadying your spirit as he reveals the deeper layers of this message. You may feel a strange mixture inside you right now, a blend of anticipation, caution, and divine awareness, because heaven is not just exposing a snake, it is preparing you for a shift that will change the atmosphere of your life. Michael says, "You have been walking with a shadow you did not recognize, and today that shadow begins to dissolve." There is a reason the heavens insisted that you open this message urgently. You have been standing at an invisible crossroads, unaware that a decision you were about to make would have given the wrong person access to your future. This person, the one Archangel Michael calls the snake, was preparing to step into an area of your life where only chosen souls should be allowed. Whether it was your heart, your plans, your finances, your dreams, or your vulnerabilities, they were waiting for you to lower your guard just a little more. What they wanted from you was not your well-being. It was your weakness. And that is what heaven refused to allow. Michael says, "You have been too generous with someone who has been too careless with you." This person never deserved the level of trust you offered. They were not sent to uplift you, support you, or truly stand beside you. Instead, they were seeking a way to rise using your strength, your kindness, and your blessings. They smiled when you succeeded, but inside they feared the day you would outgrow them. This fear slowly twisted into envy, and envy slowly twisted into subtle sabotage. They did not attack you openly. They masked their jealousy well. They hid behind soft words and gentle tones. But heaven does not listen to tones. Heaven listens to intentions. And Michael has seen all of them. He watched the moments when they pretended to celebrate you, but secretly wished you would slow down. He watched when they spoke about you with others, using small comments designed to plant doubt in the minds of those around you. He watched the way they studied your weaknesses, not to protect you, but to use them against you later. And Michael has finally declared, the season of pretending is over. What you feel right now is not fear. It is revelation. A spiritual alarm is going off inside you because your spirit recognizes the truth before your mind fully processes it. You are not imagining the shift in someone's energy. You are not overreacting to the tension you've been sensing. You are not misreading the uneasiness that rises when their name appears in your notifications or enters your thoughts. This is spiritual discernment waking up. Michael is guiding you toward the recognition of the person who has been draining your emotional strength without your awareness. Someone who smiles but carries a hidden blade. Someone who appears calm but harbors resentment. Someone whose presence once felt familiar, but now feels strangely heavy. And the moment this realization fully lands, your spirit will feel lighter, stronger, clearer. Heaven is not revealing this to make you bitter. Heaven is revealing this to make you wise. There is a powerful shift happening in your life right now. Doors that were once blocked will begin to open. Answers that felt delayed will come forward. Confusion will break. Peace will return. But it begins with this one step, removing the person who is interfering with the flow of blessings assigned to you. As long as the snake stayed close, the blessings remained restricted. But now that Michael has declared their elimination, everything that was stuck will begin moving again. Archangel Michael whispers, "You were protected even before you knew there was danger." This is important, because it means the harm they intended never reached its target. Their plans fell apart before they ever touched your life. Their words held no true power. Their intentions never found the opportunity to manifest. Heaven blocked what you never saw coming. But this does not mean the truth will not shake you. When the name becomes clear, and it will, your heart may feel a moment of heaviness. Because betrayal does not hurt because of the act. It hurts because of the expectation you placed on the person. You believed they were different. You believed they were safe. You believed they held love or respect for you. And discovering otherwise feels like a silent fracture. Michael wants you to know that this fracture will not break you. It will free you. You are stepping into a season where truth will do what lies tried to prevent, elevate you. The exposure is not your punishment. It is their departure. And once they are out of your life, your spiritual atmosphere will shift so dramatically that you will look back and wonder how you ever lived with their energy so close to you. You are about to step into clarity so sharp that confusion will feel foreign. You are about to experience peace so deep that chaos will no longer find a home in your spirit. You are about to rise into a version of yourself that the snake hoped you would never meet. Stay steady now. The next revelation is approaching, and it carries something you cannot afford to miss. Before you move forward, anchor this moment. What comes next will open your eyes even further, and trust me, the twist ahead is unlike anything you expect. Type "I walk in truth" in the comments if this resonates with your spirit. Blessing code 229 is now ignited. My awakening spirit, as Archangel Michael continues to reveal the layers behind this urgent message, his voice sharpens with purpose. The veil over your life is thinning, and what was once hidden in shadows is being dragged into the light with undeniable clarity. There is a moment, a single turning point in every divine revelation, when the truth becomes impossible to avoid. You are standing in that moment right now. Heaven has decided that your spirit must see what your eyes once missed. Michael steps forward and says, "The snake did not simply exist near you. It studied you." This is the part that stings, but it is also the part that frees you. This person paid attention to your habits, your reactions, your softness. They knew exactly when your heart was open and when your guard was down. They identified the places where you were most giving, most loyal, most trusting. And they used that knowledge not to protect you, but to position themselves in ways that benefited them more than it blessed you. They misread your kindness as weakness. They misunderstood your patience as blindness. They believed your silence meant ignorance. But Archangel Michael never allowed their plans to mature. Before they could strike, he intervened. Before they could deceive you further, he blocked their access. Before their true intentions could unfold, he commanded the exposure. There is something powerful about divine timing. The truth arrives not when you demand it, but when you are strong enough to receive it. And Michael says, "You are strong enough now." That is why this message found you in this hour, at this exact moment. Not earlier, not later, right now. As the heavens press this revelation into your spirit, you may notice memories resurfacing. Small moments when something felt off, when a tone changed, when their words carried two meanings, when you felt drained after speaking to them, when their support sounded more like competition. Those moments were not random. They were warnings whispered by your intuition, trying to awaken you. And now, Michael is confirming every one of them. Heaven says, your spirit knew the truth before your mind accepted it. This is the gift of discernment, and it is rising within you with new strength. But here is the deeper truth. Michael wants you to understand. This snake was never strong enough to destroy you. Their intentions may have been sharp, but their power was limited. Heaven allowed you to see only fragments of what they tried to do, because you were never meant to be harmed. The exposure was divinely timed to remove them from your path before their envy could turn into action. Michael has already shattered their influence. He has already cut the spiritual cords that connected you to their hidden motives. He has already placed a barrier of fire between you and the danger they carried. What they planned was small compared to the size of your destiny, and heaven refused to let something so insignificant stain a future so extraordinary. Now, you are being guided into a season where truth becomes your shield, clarity becomes your companion, and intuition becomes your strength. You will begin to notice how your mind feels lighter, how decisions become easier, how peace begins to flow again. This is because the energy that once drained you is no longer attached to you. The snake's presence created confusion. Their intentions created spiritual noise. Their energy disrupted your blessings. But all of that is dissolving now. Michael is clearing your atmosphere. He is restoring your strength. He is sharpening your discernment. And now he speaks a powerful declaration. The one who tried to break your spirit will watch you rise above every limitation they hoped you would never surpass. This is why heaven is revealing their identity. Because once you see the truth, your connections shift, your boundaries strengthen, and your spirit evolves. You will not step into your next chapter carrying the weight of someone who was never meant to walk beside you. But before this revelation deepens, Michael whispers one more thing. Prepare your heart. What comes next will unlock your destiny. Hold this moment. Something massive is taking shape. And trust me, you will want to stay with this message, because the next reveal will connect every piece of the puzzle and show you exactly why heaven acted so urgently on your behalf. Before we move forward, if this message has reached your heart, make sure you stay connected. Like this video. Comment to keep the message flowing. Share this with someone who might need divine clarity. And subscribe so you never miss what heaven is speaking next. This mission grows when souls like yours help carry the light. Type I choose clarity in the comments if your spirit is awakening. Blessing code 311 is released upon you. There is a moment in every unfolding prophecy when heaven invites you to become part of the impact, not just the audience. What you are hearing today is not entertainment. It is a spiritual assignment unfolding through your screen. When you pour into this mission, you help carry messages that pull souls out of darkness and into revelation. Just as Archangel Michael steps in to protect, your support becomes a seed that widens this reach. I speak this directly to your spirit. When you give, you are not contributing, you are activating. You are sowing into breakthrough. You are watering the very ground where other destinies will rise. If this message has touched something deep within you, use Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, and let your seed become a light in someone else's battle. Heaven honors those who fuel its work. Step into this moment with boldness. My vigilant soul, as this revelation deepens, Archangel Michael's presence grows even more intense around you. What he is revealing now is not just about the snake, but about the divine shift happening within your own spirit. He is showing you the invisible battlefield that has surrounded your life, the one your natural eyes could not see, yet your spirit felt every day. You have been walking through a season where something felt off, where your emotions fluctuated without reason, where your peace felt fragile, where your energy drained faster than usual. You thought it was stress, exhaustion, or simply life pressing in on you. But Michael reveals that these disturbances were connected to the spiritual residue of someone who did not carry good intentions for you. Heaven is showing you how their energy grazed your atmosphere. When a snake stays close long enough, even if it does not strike, its presence creates spiritual pressure. This person brought a heaviness that you gradually normalized, a confusion you adjusted to, a tension you learned to overlook. The enemy always works subtly at first, but the moment your light grew brighter, their discomfort grew stronger. And in that shift, their intentions began to distort. Michael says, the heart reveals itself when jealousy enters, and this person's heart had already begun transforming long before you notice. Yet even in that unseen danger, you were never alone. Archangel Michael stood over you, shielding you from emotional manipulation, spiritual attack, and subtle influence. He intercepted thoughts that were not yours. He blocked lies meant to shape your identity. He disrupted attempts to pull you away from your purpose. You may not have realized it, but the moments when you suddenly felt strength after weakness, clarity after confusion, or peace after chaos, were the moments when Michael intervened directly. Heaven has been guarding you from battles you did not know you were fighting. But now the season of hidden warfare is ending. Not because the threat grew stronger, but because you grew stronger. There comes a point in spiritual evolution when God no longer only protects you from enemies, He teaches you to see them. And that is what is happening in this message. Your discernment is rising, stretching, awakening. You are stepping into a higher spiritual identity, one where you no longer accept confusion as normal, where you no longer ignore your intuition, where you no longer excuse the behavior of those who drain you. Michael is showing you that your spirit recognized the snake long before the betrayal unfolded openly. There were moments when your heart tightened after hearing their name. Moments when you felt uneasy about their questions. Moments when their compliments felt strangely hollow. Moments when your peace dipped after speaking to them. These were not accidents. These were signals. Heaven has been trying to guide you toward the truth, and now the truth is coming with unmistakable clarity. You may wonder why this person even entered your life. Why heaven allowed someone with such dangerous intentions to come close. Michael answers this with a deep and solemn truth. Every assignment reveals character, both theirs and yours. This experience was not meant to break you. It was meant to refine you. You learned compassion through their neediness. You learned wisdom through their inconsistencies. You learned boundaries through their overreach. And now you are learning discernment through their exposure. But heaven is not finished speaking. Michael now reveals something even more important. The snake was not only watching you, it was reacting to your destiny. People with low spiritual awareness react strongly to those chosen for elevation. Your growth threatened their comfort. Your calling magnified their insecurities. Your blessings reminded them of what they lacked within themselves. Instead of rising with you, they hoped you would dim your light to match their shadow. But heaven refuses to let anyone shrink you. Michael declares, your rise is non-negotiable. This snake's exit is not a loss. It is a divine clearing. A cleansing of your path. A purification of your future. When God removes someone, He is never subtracting. He is making space. space for aligned connections, space for authentic loyalty, space for destined-level relationships that carry truth instead of envy. And here is the part you must hold close. The moment the snake is removed, blessings begin flowing again. Delays break. Ideas return. Strength rises. Closed doors unlock. The spiritual fog lifts. You begin to breathe again. You begin to think clearly again. You begin to dream again. Because the weight that was draining you is no longer attached to your spirit. Michael wants you to understand something profound. The enemy targeted you because of what is coming, not because of what has been. The next chapter of your life is larger than you realize, and that is why the attack felt so subtle, so emotional, so personal. But heaven stepped in before the enemy could step closer. Prepare yourself. You are walking into a season where every lie loses power, every hidden motive becomes visible, and every false connection falls away. The truth may sting, but it will set your destiny free. And trust me, the next revelation will bring everything into sharper focus. Before you scroll or step away, anchor yourself right here. What comes next is the turning point you have been waiting for. Type "I stand in divine protection" in the comments if your spirit is aligned. Blessing code 404 is now released. My steadfast heart, as Archangel Michael draws you deeper into this divine unveiling, his energy intensifies with a purpose that cannot be ignored. Something in the atmosphere around you is shifting, almost as if your spirit is being pulled toward a truth that has been waiting for the perfect moment to rise. You may feel a pressure in your chest, a stirring in your intuition, or a sudden sharpened awareness. That is not anxiety. That is alignment. Michael is preparing you to receive the next layer of this revelation, one that explains why this snake was allowed to come this close before heaven intervened. Michael speaks with clarity. Your growth intimidated them long before you realized your own strength. This person began studying you at a time when you were still discovering your own power. You were blossoming. You were rising into new levels of awareness, wisdom, and spiritual identity. But instead of celebrating your elevation, they quietly feared it. They sensed that your future held heights they would never reach. They knew that your spirit carried a calling they could not understand. And instead of being inspired, they were threatened. This is the root of their hidden betrayal. Envy disguised as friendship. Competition disguised as concern. Sabotage disguised as support. Michael wants you to know that this person never intended to destroy your life. They simply wanted to limit it. They wanted you close enough to benefit from your light, but not far enough to surpass their expectations. Yet heaven never allowed your destiny to be controlled by someone with such shallow intentions. You must understand something powerful right now. Your anointing exposes the insecurities of those who are not ready to confront their own shadows. Your growth shines light on areas in others they try to hide. Your progress triggers souls who prefer stagnation over transformation. This is why the snake reacted to your elevation with silent discomfort. The higher you rose, the more their true intention slipped through the cracks. Small comments, strange expressions, faint shifts in energy, subtle hesitations. The signs were there, but your heart chose to see the good. Heaven honored your purity, but heaven also knew the danger. Michael now reveals that the snake's presence was never about who they were, but about who you were becoming. Your spirit was entering a new spiritual frequency, and the old connections around you could no longer survive in that atmosphere. When God elevates your spirit, every person connected to you is tested. Some rise with you. Others fall away. The snake was not strong enough to rise. and so exposure became inevitable. But here's the divine mystery. Heaven did not remove them earlier because there was a lesson hidden in their presence. A lesson of discernment. A lesson of boundaries. A lesson of self-worth. A lesson of spiritual awareness. You are stepping into a chapter where you can no longer carry people out of sympathy. Your calling is too big for that. Your destiny is too delicate for that. Your path is too sacred for that. And so Michael orchestrated this exposure with precision, not to punish you, but to prepare you. There is a transformation happening within you right now. A spiritual strengthening. A sharpening of your inner vision. The parts of you that once tolerated confusion are dissolving. The parts of you that once stayed silent are finding their voice. The parts of you that once accepted imbalance are being restored. You are shifting into a version of yourself that no snake can manipulate or deceive again. Michael says, you are rising beyond the reach of those who cannot honor your purpose. That is why the snake's energy has been removed. Because where you are going, their presence would have created spiritual interference. They were a distraction dressed as a companion, a blockage disguised as support, a delaying force disguised as loyalty. Heaven saw what you could not, and so heaven intervened. As you step forward, you will begin to notice a remarkable change. Your creativity will expand. Your clarity will sharpen. Your mind will feel lighter. Your relationships will shift. Opportunities will begin approaching you again. This is because the spiritual weight that once held you back has been lifted. You are no longer carrying someone else's envy in your atmosphere. You are no longer holding space for their hidden motives. You are no longer tied to their draining presence. Now, the path ahead opens. Now, your destiny breathes freely. Now, your blessings accelerate. But Michael is not done. There is another truth approaching, one that will make everything clearer than ever before. You are about to learn why the exposure had to happen now, and what heaven is preparing to release because of it. The revelation is getting sharper, stronger, deeper. Before you move on, let your spirit absorb this moment. The next unveiling holds a divine twist that will leave you stunned. Stay with the message. You have reached a point where heaven speaks with unmistakable intention. Type "I rise above all enemies" in the comments if your spirit is receiving this. Blessing code 515 is now released. My ascending soul, as this divine message unfolds, Archangel Michael steps into a brighter, more commanding light beside you. His wings, symbolic of unshakable authority, stretch wide as he prepares to reveal a dimension of this warning you have not yet understood. The earlier parts exposed the snake, clarified their intentions, and awakened your discernment. But now Michael reveals the deeper spiritual reason why their presence shook your life so intensely. He whispers what was attacking you was not their personality, it was the spirit behind them. This is the revelation your soul must receive with seriousness. When someone carries unresolved wounds, jealousy, bitterness, or insecurity, those energies can attach themselves to their behavior. They may smile while carrying envy. They may sit beside you while holding resentment. They may show support while internally competing with you. The snake in your life did not begin as your enemy. They became one when their unhealed places reacted to your growth. Michael explains that your light activated something dormant within them. Instead of rising with you, they allowed insecurity to become their guide. Instead of confronting their own shadows, they projected them onto you. Instead of celebrating your blessings, they felt threatened by them. A person's spirit shifts when they allow negative emotions to grow unchecked, and heaven saw this shift long before your heart detected it. The tension you felt around them was not just emotional. It was spiritual. The discomfort you sensed was not imagination. It was warning. The heaviness you carried after interacting with them was not overthinking. It was your spirit resisting their energy. Michael reminds you that your intuition has been accurate all along. You were not mistaken. You were not paranoid. You were not misreading the situation. Your spirit was alert. Heaven has been signaling you through subtle impressions, through small hesitations, through sudden urges to distance yourself. Each of these moments was a divine alarm trying to protect you from the emotional and spiritual entanglement this person carry. But the most powerful truth Michael now reveals is this: they underestimated your spiritual rank. This is where the liberation begins. The snake did not understand the level of protection assigned to you. They did not understand the authority of your calling. They did not understand that heaven watches over you with precision. Every time they tried to manipulate, gossip, interfere, or influence your emotions, the spiritual realm recorded it. And the moment their intentions crossed a divine boundary, Michael was dispatched to intervene. Your life carries too much purpose for God to allow the wrong person to attach themselves to your next chapter. That is why the exposure came suddenly. Heaven does not give extended warnings when destiny protection is required. The removal had to be immediate, decisive, irreversible. But now, Michael reveals a deeper truth. Something that will shift your understanding completely. He says, if the snake had stayed longer, they would have drained your spirit to a point where you would have questioned your own worth. This is the danger heaven prevented. The enemy was not after your finances or relationships. The enemy was after your confidence, your sense of identity, your clarity. Because a weakened spirit is easier to manipulate than a strong one. The snake carried the potential to dismantle your self-esteem slowly, to make you dependent on their validation, to confuse your intuition, and to cloud your judgment. Heaven refused to allow that. Michael has stepped forward like a warrior who has drawn a line in the sand. No more access to your mind. No more access to your peace. No more access to your emotions. No more access to your destiny. This is why the spiritual atmosphere around you feels different lately. Something lifted. Something released. Something broke. You may have felt it without understanding it, but now the clarity is arriving. Heaven removed a draining force from your life because your next season requires full strength, full clarity, full alignment. You are entering a chapter where your sensitivity will become your power, not your weakness. Your intuition will sharpen into a tool of spiritual navigation. Your discernment will help you build healthier connections. Your boundaries will become firm yet compassionate. This experience is shaping you into someone who will no longer ignore the early signs of spiritual misalignment. You are being trained, refined, prepared. Michael adds another revelation. You are about to meet people who match your frequency. The removal of the snake creates space for soul-aligned connections. Those who celebrate your growth, protect your spirit, and speak life into your purpose. These future relationships were blocked by the presence of the snake. Their removal is not a loss. It is a divine clearing for something greater. Before this section closes, Michael leans near your spirit and speaks words filled with solemn authority. You were never in danger. You were always under my shield. Even when you felt confused, you were protected. Even when you felt heavy, you were guarded. And even when the snake approached, it could not touch the destiny written over your life. Hold this truth tightly. You are safer than you know. and the next revelation will show you what blessing is being released because of this divine protection. Type "I am covered by heaven" in the comments if your spirit receives this truth. Blessing code 606 is now released. My illuminated soul, as Archangel Michael continues to draw you into this unfolding revelation, his presence begins to feel different, warmer, steadier, yet more powerful than before. This is because you have now crossed the threshold from exposure into transformation. What was once hidden has been revealed. What was once confusing is now becoming clear. And now heaven begins to show you not only why the snake had to be removed, but what spiritual treasure their departure has unlocked in your life. Michael speaks with calm authority. The removal of the snake is not just protection. It is preparation. Your spirit is entering a new era, one marked by clarity, strength, and divine acceleration. But before you step into what is coming, heaven must show you the impact that person had on your energy, your emotions, and your destiny. Not to make you dwell on the past, but to help you recognize how far heaven has already carried you. For a long time, without realizing it, you were adjusting yourself to the presence of someone whose spirit was not aligned with yours. You lowered your voice to avoid triggering their insecurity. You softened your success to avoid stirring their jealousy. You hid parts of your dreams because you sensed they would not celebrate them. You made yourself smaller, quieter, gentler, simply to maintain peace in a connection that was never meant to hold that much of your heart. But heaven never intended you to shrink for anyone. Michael reveals that this person held a subtle influence over your emotions, not through control, but through the quiet pressures they placed on your spirit. Their energy made you doubt yourself in moments when you should have felt confident. Their reactions made you question decisions that heaven had already blessed. Their silence made you feel unsupported at times when you needed reassurance. Without realizing it, you were living under a shadow created by someone who did not understand the magnitude of your calling. This is why heaven intervened. Not because you were weak, but because your destiny is too powerful to be shaped by someone who cannot see its value. Michael says, your light disrupted their darkness, but their darkness tried to dim your light. This spiritual conflict created tension in your atmosphere. That heaviness you felt on certain days, the inexplicable sadness, the sudden discouragement, the moments of emotional fatigue. They were not random. They were the spiritual weight of carrying someone who could not carry you back. Now that they are removed, heaven is restoring what was drained. Your mind is beginning to clear. Your heart is beginning to stabilize. Your intuition is becoming sharper than ever. You are becoming more aware of energy shifts, more conscious of your boundaries, more selective with your access. This is the transformation Michael has been guiding you toward. But here is where the revelation deepens. Michael shows you that the snake's presence was blocking not just your peace, but your blessings. When someone carries envy toward you, their energy creates interference in the spiritual realm. It does not stop your destiny, but it slows the flow of certain breakthroughs. You may have noticed delays, confusion, stalled opportunities, unfinished goals, or moments where things almost worked, but somehow collapsed at the last second. These were not failures. They were spiritual interruptions caused by misaligned energy entering the space around your purpose. Heaven is now clearing all of that. Michael declares, what was delayed will now accelerate. What was blocked will now flow. What was denied will now be released. This shift is already happening. You will soon notice unexpected progress, sudden opportunities, revived passion, renewed motivation, and doors that once remained closed suddenly opening with ease. This is not coincidence. This is the blessing that follows spiritual removal. But the greatest transformation of all is happening inside you. Michael is awakening a level of discernment, that will protect your destiny for the rest of your life. You will never again entertain a spirit disguised in false loyalty. You will never again ignore the tension your intuition tries to reveal. You will never again allow someone to drain you simply because your heart is compassionate. You are learning how to separate energy from appearance, intention from words, spirit from personality. Your spiritual eyes are opening. Michael whispers, "You are becoming who heaven always knew you were. A warrior of sensitivity, yet strength. A soul of compassion, yet discernment. A heart of purity, yet awareness." And now heaven prepares you for what comes next, the moment when the identity of the snake becomes clear. Not to punish you, but to close the chapter completely. You must know who they were so that you do not carry them into your future, even in memory or emotional residue. Their name will surface not to hurt you, but to free you. And when it does, everything you have been feeling will suddenly make sense. Michael urges you to hold steady. What is coming will confirm everything. And trust me, you will want to hear it, because the next revelation unlocks the moment your destiny begins accelerating forward. Type "I step into my NEW season" in the comments if your spirit is aligning with this truth. Blessing code 717 is now released. My rising spirit, as Archangel Michael moves even closer in this moment, the atmosphere around you becomes charged with purpose. You are no longer simply hearing a message. You are standing inside a divine unfolding. Every piece of this revelation has been leading you to a threshold, one where heaven begins to uncover not only the identity of the snake, but the spiritual significance behind their removal. Michael's voice deepens as he prepares your heart for what is coming next, for he knows that truth must be delivered with both strength and compassion. He speaks with gravity. The name connected to the snake will not surprise your intuition, but it will surprise your heart. This is because you already sensed something long before this message reached you. Your spirit has been whispering clues, subtle discomfort, sudden hesitation, unexplained emotional fatigue, strange tension in conversations, a shift in tone, a pull to distance yourself. These were not coincidences. These were early warnings from heaven trying to prepare you for what your mind did not yet want to accept. Michael reveals that the snake was someone close enough to observe your vulnerabilities, yet distant enough to hide their intentions. This person's presence created an emotional imbalance in your life. You were giving more energy than you were receiving. You were offering loyalty to someone whose loyalty to you was conditional. They enjoyed access to your heart, your thoughts, your dreams, but they never intended to protect them fully. They carried admiration for you and resentment at the same time, a duality that slowly became more dangerous. Heaven watched this tension build in their spirit. Heaven watched their envy deepen. Heaven watched their motives shift from silent competition to subtle sabotage. And when their energy became unstable enough to threaten your peace, Archangel Michael stepped in with finality. The reason heaven is now revealing their identity is not to reopen old wounds, but to close the chapter with complete clarity. Michael says, "You cannot heal what you do not acknowledge." And you cannot step into your next season carrying confusion from the last. This is why the truth must rise now, because your destiny cannot afford emotional residue, fragmented trust, or spiritual fog. But here is the part that may shock you. Michael reveals that the snake did not begin with harmful intentions. Their spirit shifted over time. Their jealousy grew slowly, like a small seed watered by insecurity. At first, they admired your strength. Eventually, they wished they could possess it. And when they realized they could not imitate your calling, they began to resent it. Yet even in this, heaven protected you. Not one of their hidden thoughts gained power. Their words did not pierce your destiny. Their intentions did not infect your spirit. Every plan that formed against you dissolved before it touched your life. Michael intercepted the spiritual interference before you even sensed the danger. He now reveals the removal of this person is the unlocking of your acceleration. For months, maybe even years, you have felt held back without knowing why. You worked hard, yet results were slow. You prayed, yet clarity was delayed. You tried to move forward, yet something kept pulling you into emotional loops. That something was the energetic imbalance caused by the snake's presence. Now that they are gone, the restrictions are breaking. Where you felt stuck, you will feel movement. Where you felt heavy, you will feel lightness. Where you felt uncertain, you will feel decisive. Where doors remained closed, they will begin to open with ease. Heaven is aligning your path with supernatural precision. Michael shows you that the very moment the snake was removed, a spiritual blockage shattered. Something shifted in your atmosphere, clearing the path for new opportunities, new connections, new blessings, and new revelations. But here is the most profound truth of this part. You are being prepared to meet the version of yourself that the snake was meant to distract you from. A stronger you, a wiser you, a clearer you, a spiritually awakened you. This next chapter of your life requires you to walk with confidence, discernment, and spiritual authority. And heaven will not allow you to enter this season tethered to someone whose energy could corrupt your growth. Michael whispers, you were chosen long before they attempted to dim you. Your identity is not formed by their perception. Your destiny is not shaped by their insecurity. The revelation of the name may sting, but the freedom that follows it will elevate you beyond anything you have experienced. You are not losing someone. You are shedding a weight. You are clearing space for divine alignment. And as this moment unfolds, the next revelation will be the one that ignites everything. It is the moment where Michael reveals not just the identity of the snake, but the blessing that arrives immediately after their exposure. Before you move ahead, anchor yourself. What's coming next will reshape how you understand every connection in your life. Type "I am ready" for full revelation in the comments if your spirit is prepared. Blessing code 818 is now released upon you. Before we continue, pause here for a heartbeat. If this message is speaking to your spirit, make sure you do not miss the remaining revelations. Like this video to keep the message circulating. Comment to stay connected in this prophetic flow. Share it with someone who may need heavenly clarity, and subscribe so you never miss what heaven releases next. There are moments when heaven calls certain souls to help carry its message farther. And this is one of those moments. Just as Archangel Michael shields and clears your path, your support helps expand the reach of these divine warnings to those who desperately need guidance. I speak this to you with sacred authority. When you sow into this mission, you are not giving, you are activating. You become part of the spiritual rescue of others who are battling their own hidden snakes. As it is written, the one who sows into light will reap a harvest of protection, clarity, and blessing. And I declare this over you now. Your seed will open what the enemy tried to close. If your spirit feels led, you may use Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description. Let your obedience speak louder than your fear. Heaven honors the hands that fuel its work. My vigilant heart, as Archangel Michael steps deeper into this revelation, the atmosphere around you shifts once again. His presence is no longer simply protective. It is instructive. You are being guided into understanding the spiritual architecture behind everything that has unfolded. Heaven is not just exposing a snake. Heaven is elevating your sight, strengthening your discernment, and preparing you for a level of clarity that will change the way you navigate every connection in your life from this moment forward. Michael begins with a solemn truth. The snake was not just a person. It was an assignment. This assignment formed the moment your spirit began rising. Not everyone connected to you was meant to journey with you through transformation. Some were meant to reveal themselves so you could learn the spiritual difference between closeness and access. They were allowed into your life for a season so their mask could eventually fall. And once it fell, you would step into the wisdom required for your next chapter. Heaven allowed them near you not because they were worthy, but because you were ready. Ready to see what your eyes once missed. Ready to break cycles you once repeated. Ready to detach from patterns that once felt familiar. Ready to graduate from the emotional lessons that once kept you spiritually vulnerable. Michael reveals you were being trained in discernment without realizing you were in a training ground. Think of the moments when you felt torn between trusting what someone said and trusting what your spirit felt. Think of the uneasiness you tried to explain away. Think of the heaviness that settled after certain conversations. Think of the confusion you tried to make sense of. All of this was preparation, not punishment, not coincidence. Preparation for the new level of spiritual authority rising inside you. Michael now shows you a vision, a door partially open, not fully shut, but not fully accessible. This door represents your destiny. The snake was never permitted to walk through it. They could push against it, linger near it, or try to peek inside, but heaven never allowed them to cross into the sacred space where your true blessings reside. This is why their influence reached your emotions, but never touched your purpose. Their presence could disturb your peace, but it could not disrupt your destiny. Their intentions could shift your mood, but they could not shift the plan written over your life. The enemy's attempt may have rattled your heart, but it never rewrote your future. Michael then reveals something even deeper. The snake's exposure is your elevation. Heaven operates in patterns, and one of those patterns is this. Exposure precedes expansion. Anytime God is preparing to enlarge your territory, He removes those who cannot handle your increase. Their removal is not rejection of them. It is protection of you. If they had remained in your atmosphere during your season of elevation, they would have sabotaged the blessings meant for your hands. Their envy would have intensified. Their intentions would have darkened. Their influence would have grown more harmful. And so heaven removed them before their season of danger fully matured. Now, something remarkable begins to unfold. Michael shows you that your spirit has already begun to regenerate. The parts of you that were once tired are awakening. The parts that felt confused are gaining clarity. The parts that felt drained are being restored. Your spiritual energy is rising like sunlight returning after a long storm. And what is even more profound is this. You are beginning to recognize your own worth in ways you never have before. The snake's presence forced you to question why you tolerated less than you deserve. Why you made room for people who did not honor your heart. Why you gave loyalty to those who offered only convenience. Why you poured into connections that never poured back into you. This awakening is not painful. It is empowering. Michael says, now you will choose differently. Now you will see differently. Now you will rise differently. Your standards are elevating. Your boundaries are strengthening. Your inner voice is becoming louder. You are learning that peace is not something you negotiate. It is something you protect. And because heaven has cleared your path, new relationships will soon emerge, ones aligned with your calling, your growth, and your purpose. But before you step into those divine connections, there is one more layer Michael wants you to understand. He reveals that the snake carried a spiritual assignment, that ended the moment you awakened. The enemy wanted you distracted, emotionally unstable, spiritually weakened. But instead of falling, you rose. Instead of breaking, you strengthened. Instead of dimming, you illuminated. The assignment has failed, and the snake's influence has dissolved. Michael whispers, "You are stepping into a season where the wrong people lose access and the right people are divinely assigned." This next phase of your journey will be marked by clarity that feels almost supernatural. You will be able to sense energy shifts instantly. You will recognize true intentions before they speak. You will feel spiritual alignment before you understand it. Heaven is upgrading your internal guidance system, tuning your spirit to divine frequency. The next revelation will bring you even closer to the truth your soul is preparing for. The name, the purpose behind the exposure, and the blessing that follows will soon align into one powerful moment of clarity. Hold steady. Do not drift. Something monumental is about to unfold. Type "I walk in divine discernment" in the comments if this is resonating in your spirit. Blessing code 939 is now released upon you. My awakened spirit, as Archangel Michael steps further into this revelation, the air around you tightens with divine intention. You are not just listening anymore. You are being ushered into a deeper chamber of truth. The previous revelations prepared your heart, strengthened your discernment, and cleared your atmosphere. But now, Michael begins to unveil the spiritual mechanics behind everything that has been happening around you. This is the part where pieces begin to align, where unanswered questions finally find their conclusion, and where your spirit understands why heaven moved with such urgency on your behalf. Michael speaks with a calm that carries authority. You are protected not only from the snake's intentions, but from the spiritual consequences of allowing the wrong person into your inner space. This is a profound truth. People do not merely bring their personality into your life. They bring their spiritual residue, their emotional wounds, their unresolved shadows, their hidden battles. And when someone carries envy, insecurity, or bitterness, those energies spill into your atmosphere. You begin to feel emotions that are not yours. You begin to fight battles that were never assigned to you. The snake in your life brought tension that belonged to their spirit, not yours. You may recall days when you felt unusually low, confused, or emotionally unsettled for no clear reason. Those moments were not signs of personal weakness. They were signs of spiritual contamination from someone who was standing too close to you. Michael reveals now that your spirit was absorbing what their heart was hiding. And heaven refuses to let you carry the weight of someone who quietly resented your light. Heaven stepped in not only to remove the snake, but to detox your spirit from everything their presence left behind. This is why you may have noticed certain shifts recently: your sleep improving, your mind clearing, your motivation returning, your vision sharpening. These are signs that the spiritual residue is lifting. Michael has been cleansing your atmosphere in ways you could not see, but can now feel. He then reveals another profound truth. The snake did not betray your love. They betrayed your purpose. This is deeper than you may realize. People can misunderstand you, but betrayal always happens on the level of destiny. Someone's resentment grows when they realize your future carries weight. Someone's envy grows when they see blessings forming around you. Someone's hidden antagonism emerges when heaven begins to elevate you while they remain in the same place. This person did not simply envy what you have. They envied what you are becoming. Michael shows you a vision of your spirit glowing brighter, expanding, evolving, attracting divine opportunities. And beside it, he shows the snake shrinking in insecurity, unable to keep up with your pace of growth. Instead of growing with you, they began growing against you. Their energy shifted from admiration to discomfort, from respect to resentment, from closeness to silent rebellion. This is why the exposure had to happen now. Their energy was becoming incompatible with your destiny. Michael reminds you, when heaven prepares to elevate, it separates. Separation is never punishment. It is divine precision. Heaven does not allow contaminated connections to travel into the next phase of your purpose. If the snake had remained in your life, they would have become a weight that dragged your spirit backward just when heaven is trying to push you forward. And now comes another revelation, one that many overlook. Michael says, the exposure protects your blessings from entering the wrong hands. There are blessings scheduled to arrive in your life soon, breakthroughs, opportunities, divine connections, restoration, clarity, advancement. But heaven could not release these while the snake remained close. If the blessing arrived earlier, the snake would have tried to influence it, manipulate it, or benefit from it unfairly. Heaven protects not just your heart, but your destiny. The removal ensures that everything coming to you reaches only you. Michael now draws your attention to something subtle, but critical. The snake's removal has created spiritual space. Space for new relationships. Space for truth. Space for healing. Space for clarity. Space for blessings that were waiting for a clear atmosphere. Space for your intuition to breathe freely again. He says, what felt like loss is actually preparation for divine replacement. You are entering a season where heaven will align you with people whose spirits resonate with yours, people who uplift rather than drain, who celebrate rather than compete, who protect rather than pretend. These relationships will feel lighter, safer, more peaceful. They will not carry the hidden tension that the snake brought. But before you step into these new connections, Michael wants you to fully understand this final truth of this section. You were never meant to walk blindly. The exposure awakens something ancient inside you, a spiritual memory, a divine instinct, a sharpened sense of knowing. You are stepping into a version of yourself that cannot be deceived the same way again. You are rising into a frequency where snakes cannot breathe, let alone approach. Heaven has upgraded your perception. Your inner voice will become louder. Your boundaries will become clearer. Your spirit will respond faster to hidden danger. You are becoming spiritually untouchable. Michael whispers with unwavering certainty, the worst is behind you. The revelation is before you, and the blessing is on its way. And now, your spirit stands at the edge of a turning point. What comes next will bring the revelation to its peak, the moment where everything aligns and the truth reaches its full clarity. Hold yourself steady, because the next revelation carries power you cannot afford to miss. Type "I am ready for my destiny" in the comments if your spirit is aligned with this message. Blessing code 1010 is now activated over your life. My destined soul, as Archangel Michael steps into the next layer of this revelation, the atmosphere around you thickens with divine clarity. You are being led into the heart of the mystery, into the place where heaven reveals not only who the snake was, not only why they had to be removed, but what heaven has been preparing behind the scenes all along. Every revelation until now has been peeling away a layer of misunderstanding, helping you see spiritually what your emotions once blurred. But now, Michael brings you into the deeper truth, the truth that will close the old chapter and open a new one with unmistakable authority. He begins with a declaration that echoes like a spiritual thunder. The danger was not the snake's presence. The danger was the access you were about to give them. This is the part your spirit must understand completely. Heaven did not step in because the snake had already harmed you. Heaven stepped in because the snake was approaching a point where their influence would have touched something sacred in your destiny. You were getting ready to trust more, share more, open more, reveal more. And heaven saw that one more step, one more moment of vulnerability, one more extension of trust toward this person would have pulled you into a spiritual entanglement that would take much longer to break. The exposure was not late. It was perfectly timed. Michael shows you a vision of two paths, one illuminated, one shadowed. In the shadowed path, the snake draws closer, their motives growing darker, their influence deepening. This path leads to emotional confusion, spiritual stagnation, and delayed destiny. But in the illuminated path, the one you are on now, the snake is removed, your clarity rises, and your destiny remains untouched. Heaven chose the illuminated path for you, even when you didn't know a choice was being made. This is why the removal felt sudden. It was heaven intercepting a spiritual danger before it entered your heart. Michael speaks with a gentleness that carries profound strength. You were too close to opening the wrong door. The wrong door emotionally. The wrong door spiritually. The wrong door relationally. The wrong door energetically. And heaven closed it before your heart walked through it. But here is where the revelation deepens beyond anything you have yet heard. The snake was not just being removed from your life. They were being removed from your future. Heaven did not just break the connection. Heaven erased the spiritual pathway that would have allowed this person to influence your destiny years from now. Sometimes God removes someone not because of what they have done, but because of what they would have done. This is divine foresight. Michael shows you something else, something your heart may not have realized. The snake was beginning to mimic your strength. They were absorbing your energy, copying your ideas, mirroring your growth. This was not admiration. This was spiritual attachment. They were trying to access your elevation through proximity rather than transformation. And this is dangerous, because when someone attaches to you without growing themselves, they become a spiritual drain. They cannot sustain the energy they are trying to imitate, so they pull from you until you feel depleted without understanding why. That depletion you once felt is now being reversed. Michael whispers, your spirit is reclaiming every part of itself that was drained. Your confidence is returning. Your intuition is returning. Your emotional balance is returning. Your spiritual authority is returning. You may notice that creativity is flooding back into your mind. Ideas are returning with clarity. Motivation is rising again. These are all signs that your spirit is detoxing from the hidden pressure you lived under. Heaven is restoring what the snake quietly absorbed. But the greatest restoration is yet to be revealed. Michael now shows you the reason your spirit is being strengthened. You are entering a season where heaven will trust you with more. More purpose, more clarity, more responsibility, more elevation, more spiritual gifts, more influence, more opportunities. And heaven cannot place more into the hands of someone who is surrounded by envy. The snake's removal was not only protection, it was preparation. Now you can rise without spiritual interference. And then comes the revelation that shifts everything. Michael reveals that your spirit is about to receive a divine confirmation. A moment, unexpected, unmistakable, undeniable, when the truth about the snake will reveal itself without you searching for it. You will not have to look for answers. Heaven will bring the answer to your consciousness. The name will rise in your mind in a moment of stillness or clarity, and when it does, you will not feel pain. You will feel release. The exposure will not break you. It will free you. Michael says, when the name comes, it will complete the circle. Not to reopen the wound, but to seal it. This is where your emotional understanding catches up to your spiritual insight. And once this happens, every part of you, mind, heart, and spirit, will align in truth. You will look back on this entire journey and realize that heaven not only protected you, but elevated you in the process. But before the final revelation, Michael offers one more truth. You are stepping into a life where snakes have no permission to enter. Your light is rising too high. Your discernment is becoming too sharp. Your boundaries are becoming too strong. Your destiny is becoming too pronounced. You are ascending into a realm where deceit cannot survive. Stay close to the message. The final revelation is approaching, and what it carries will shift your entire understanding of this divine intervention. Type "I receive divine completion" in the comments if your spirit is aligned with this truth. Blessing code 1111 is released over your life. My chosen soul, as Archangel Michael steps into the final chamber of this revelation, his presence surrounds you with a clarity so bright that nothing hidden can remain concealed. This is the moment everything has been building toward. The moment where the truth, the purpose, and the blessing behind this entire divine message come together as one. You have walked through exposure, purification, awakening, discernment, and restoration. Now heaven brings you into completion. This is the part where your spirit finally understands why the warning was urgent, why the snake had to be removed, and why heaven is opening a door before you that no enemy can shut. Michael begins with words that echo through your spirit like a seal being placed upon your destiny. What was meant to deceive you has now been transformed into what will promote you. The very thing that threatened to cloud your vision has sharpened it. The person who carried hidden intentions has become the catalyst for your spiritual awakening. The experience that once caused confusion is now the reason you stand clearer, stronger, and more aligned than ever. Heaven wastes nothing. Even the snake's presence was used to purify your path and refine your spirit for the elevation that is now unfolding. You may feel weight lifting even as you hear this, because your spirit recognizes that you are no longer standing in the place where this battle began. You have crossed into a higher realm of awareness. You are seeing with spiritual eyes. You are feeling with spiritual discernment. You are navigating with divine intuition. And now heaven reveals what comes after the fall of the snake. Michael speaks firmly. The attack was not against your past. It was against your future. The enemy saw glimpses of where heaven is taking you, glimpses of the blessings assigned to your name, glimpses of the breakthrough scheduled to unfold. The snake was sent not to destroy your present, but to derail your tomorrow. That is why heaven's intervention was so swift, so decisive, so unyielding. God is too invested in your destiny to let anyone with impure intentions shape your future. But now, here is the revelation you have been waiting for. The moment Michael reveals what happens after exposure. Heaven says, for every snake removed, 3 blessings are released. This is a spiritual law. When a deceptive presence leaves your life, a divine realignment follows. The energy once drained from you is restored. The opportunities once delayed begin moving. The clarity once clouded becomes radiant. Michael reveals the first blessing, the restoration of your spiritual voice. You will no longer second-guess your intuition. You will trust what you feel without apologizing for it. You will speak truth without fear of rejection. This experience has awakened a new authority inside you. Your discernment is no longer quiet. It has become a shield. Then he reveals the second blessing, the expansion of your atmosphere. What the snake restricted is now released. Your creative flow returns. Your passion rekindles. Your dreams breathe again. You will feel ideas waking up inside you that had been stuck in spiritual limbo. This is the sign that heaven has unclogged the channels of your destiny. And the final blessing, the acceleration of your next chapter. Everything that was delayed will begin moving with supernatural speed. Conversations, opportunities, connections, breakthroughs, they will come sooner than expected. Heaven removed the snake to make room for a season of rapid elevation. But Michael is not finished. He reveals the most powerful truth of all. You will soon see why the snake had to show itself. There will be a moment, quiet, private, unmistakable, when the name of the snake will rise in your spirit. This will not bring pain. It will bring closure. You will understand that heaven was not trying to hurt you by revealing this truth. Heaven was trying to shield you from a future heartbreak far greater than your present discomfort. And when this name appears in your awareness, your spirit will say, I see it now, and I am free. Michael then places a spiritual seal over your life. No weapon formed against you will prosper, not even the ones disguised as friendship. Your relationships will shift. Your spirit will elevate. Your discernment will sharpen. And your destiny will open like a dawn that no darkness can push back. You are stepping into a future where no snake can cross the threshold. You are rising into a season where heaven reveals before harm can arrive. You are walking into a chapter where your heart is guarded, your mind is clear, and your purpose is unstoppable. This is your spiritual rebirth. This is heaven's protection made visible. This is the moment your destiny takes its rightful place. Before you move forward, anchor this message. Like this video to help it reach other souls who need clarity. Share it to guide someone who may be walking through hidden deception. Comment to keep yourself connected to this prophetic flow. And subscribe so heaven can continue speaking into your journey. Type I receive my divine completion in the comments if this message has sealed something in your spirit. Blessing code 1212 is now released. There are moments when heaven invites you to join in the work of carrying light into places where darkness once hid, and this is one of those moments. The same way Archangel Michael stepped in to remove what threatened your destiny, your support helps extend this mission of spiritual warning and protection to others who are still blind to the snakes around them. Hear this as a divine whisper. When you sow into this work, you are not giving, you are partnering with heaven in the rescue of souls. The scriptures speak of those who sow in faith receiving a harvest pressed down, shaken together, and running over, and today that promise is alive for you. I speak this with prophetic certainty. Your seed becomes a shield, your support becomes a sword, your offering becomes a doorway for someone else's breakthrough. If your spirit feels the call, use super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description. Do not hold back. Heaven moves through the hands that give with purpose and boldness.